Hey there, it's been a while since I did a last video. My last one is probably like last year or something. So creating this to go and document for the future me. This video will be particularly about January 2024, like things that I've done, reflection, like small improvements that I've made, as well as lessons that I've learned. It's a pretty raw and uncut version of this. So I'm going to split this up into three sections. One will be about my biggest improvements and biggest things that I've done. Two will be about some smaller things that I've done. And three will be about the biggest and most important lessons that I've taken away here. Not to say this is all the lessons that I've learned. Number one, about the biggest improvements, I have four tested ADHD medicines, and I finally found one that has helped me to be able to focus more and be able to go and output more work. So without it, I find myself very groggy, always wanting to sleep at about 3 to 6 p.m. I have absolutely no energy, cannot get things done. But with it, my output probably increases to about probably 3 to 4 times more, which is pretty substantial. It's just a supplement. Yeah, number two is that I've honed in on a sense of direction. I know what my path looks like right now. I know what I want to do in the next few months. That allows me to become much more ruthless in eliminating things that do not get me to that future state where I want to be. And I know what needs to be done in order for each of these steps right now, which short term is ACADS and ensuring that I learn efficiently, be able to test my skills of me learning how to learn and refining them. And then in the next few weeks after that, we'll be going to fitness and trying to do content together to try to build up my base, to build a personal brand. My sense of direction right now is to first go and build on a personal brand, to then leverage it in my next step, whichever that might be, which is a few paths. So either staying in Singapore, going to become a marketer, going into content, going into overseas markets and seeing what I can do, freelancing online, etc. There's quite a lot right down that path. Why this filmmaking is a particular tweet by Leila Homozi. The tweet was, if I could go back to my 20s and I could learn filmmaking, I would do it, because the proximity of a filmmaker to the talent, meaning like the star, whatever, the influencer, is unparalleled, because you're literally right there behind the camera, and this is something that not enough people appreciate. So I'm trying to learn that skill set right now for content. Number three, for the big improvements, is systems. Under this, I have about 6. So finding a place to work for the next 2 years. One is the library where I go, and a second one will be where I'm at right now, like a room over here, which is I'm not gonna show that side because there's people there, but it's a very quiet space. Yeah, I've also a daily routine where I just now wake up at 8:30 and actually just get straight down to work, and then work all the way until about classes, or at 5 p.m. where I try to end my day and go and prepare for the next day, either exercising, doing whatever needs to be done, or just relaxing and recovering emotionally. Third one is content and task management. So for this, I actually started using Notion Calendar more intentionally, and actually time tracking what I do in each day and where all my time slots go to. Task management now also set it up in such a way that it's very easy to use. I can see all my tasks and I can arrange them into just a daily view and just focus on it. Try like Sahil Bloom's method of paper, Things Tree by a lot of other productivity influencers. It doesn't seem to work, so I just stuck to whatever works for me. Fourth thing for the systems is reorganize all my Notion pages from a Para perspective to a layout that is very, very operational, which right now looks like this. Yeah, I think this is good view. And then after that, inside here, this is where my notebook is where I store all of my main data and different things. Yeah, here, structured in such a way that it's easy for me. For example, NTU is, I know everything related to NTU. Content is literally all my content kind of things. Can be streamlined further, but it's very efficient for right now as well. And underneath each of these, there are different pillars as well. Next will be refining my reflection system in Google Drive, something I took from Alex Homozi, the Solomon Project system, based on the idea of King Solomon previously, who gave out excellent advice but was horrible at managing his own affairs, cheated on his wives, horrible king, passed on his kingdom to a son who ruined his kingdom because he wasn't a good father, etc, etc. In this project, I speak to my future self and try to artificially close that gap to be able to have his wisdom in this moment right now, which I use to reflect on things that have happened and for any important decisions I make. This is a once per week kind of commitment for about 1 hour. And lastly, I use X for documentation, Twitter. This month I posted about 400 tweets from, it was about 150 last month. I think it's about consistency and just ensuring that I constantly improve and reflect. So yeah, this is the page right now, like 578 posts and just thoughts and lessons that I learned every single day. I don't know whether it's good, but whatever. And it's also a way of building my online brand just from the start. My fourth biggest improvement is I know what I want in a friend right now, because I have projected how I will be and what kind of people I want to surround myself with. I look for these traits whenever I look for someone to go and add into my life. As a second sub point to these people, I understand that I'm growing right now. I've finally gotten to a point where I have enough value to be able to speak to people one level above me, and I'm starting to attract people who are new to my life but actively wanting to go and speak to me because I have some value that I can provide to them. Like right now I have a co-founder wanting to speak to me about his current project and seeing how he can value add, and I want to see how he can value add. As I continue to grow, I'm sure that I'll continue to attract this kind of people. Now on to the second section on smaller improvements. There's 7. So one is started school and I'm quite on a decent footing. The funniest moment was when I started asking my prof questions and she was telling me like, stop torturing me with your questions after class, because I was asking her questions that she didn't really know the answer to as well. Because these are out of norm. For example, in accountancy, I asked why when a revaluation goes down, why it's not a separate account in the profit and loss statement under comprehensive income, and why is it coming out from retained earnings. I think I'll just continue with that. For point number 2, it's just content is doing okay. So setting up my content calendar, setting up my other platforms to start growing on LinkedIn. Like my whole link tree is up right now, and I'm trying to continue building on them. So like this is something that I've built up already, and LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Trying to continue to refine them over time. Start actually building an audience at my tribe. 3, applied for Mr. Beast. Finally just put myself out there. Probably not gonna get it because it's only like my first few videos, but it's fine. Just continue hustling. Number 4, my routines, I improved on them quite a lot in the first half of this month before school started on the 15th or 14th of Jan. But when school started, I started to take like a dive down because I started getting a lot of things that I was not used to and did not enjoy as much. So to work on that again to continue to build it up. But compared to the start of January, it's definitely improved. Yeah, 5th is lost about 1 to 2 kg this month. Started to eat a bit more once school started because of like stress and change in routines. But I think I can get back down and continue to lose a bit more weight before possibly starting to bulk or go through a recomposition for my body to actually become shredded. 6 is improve some basic people skills, calling people by their names, giving a firm handshake, looking at them in the eyes, that kind of thing. Still a lot to learn. I'm very serious by nature. That probably doesn't do well in many situations. 7 is setting up phone shortcuts, first modes, settings, layouts. Layouts meaning home screen layouts and laptop backgrounds. For example, now here is I have all of these different layout focus modes, and I've swapped them to allow them to come on at different times when I want them activated. So here's a do not disturb. There are dark modes as well. Work modes is David Goggins, hardest fella on the planet. Connecting with people. So this one is quote like my standards are high because I can provide what I require. And when I come in here, it's literally a link to my Telegram page, and just improved my page to be very operational based. When you see the ads I need to. Lessons wise for accountability, I think accountability is very important because in the first half of the month I had a friend I called every night, like accountability buddy, and we just account each other what we're doing, what we have done today, what we're doing tomorrow, and what lessons we have learned. Without the accountability, like for this past week or so, because she started getting busy, my productivity just dropped because I did not mentally visualize that, hey, I need to account myself to that person. Lesson number 2, I think the work just needs doing. There are times in your life when you know what exactly needs to be done. Just have to get on the grind, just do it. This is one of those times. There's no excuses needed, no emotions needed. The work doesn't care how you feel. You do the inputs, you get the outputs, very simple. Yeah, lesson number 3 is about old friends, and this is kind of a sad one. When I've looked at my life and I've looked at their life from about like 1 year ago, they haven't grown, and they're not. Our paths have gotten too different, which makes what we talk about extremely different. And when I talk about something like, hey, self-improvement to them, hey, let's set up some systems for you, they don't want to, they don't care about it, which means it doesn't quite make sense for them to continue being in my life, because every single conversation of ours will be different. We cannot understand each other anymore. And this is when coming in and auditing friendships that are not very suitable are needed, which is hard because they have been a part of your life for so long. I do agree that there is still an emotional attachment, but it's necessary kind of, because it doesn't benefit either of you. This is something that I've been thinking about for the past few weeks and being very ruthless but necessary about. That concludes January 2024's review. And in February 2024, probably we'll be just working on ACADS, content and fitness, and these 3 should be able to get me to the end of February 2024, and we'll see what we can do that again. But just power singularity, focus one thing at a time. Simple. Bye.